Hey there YouTube fans, AC Productions here, and today I'm going to be showing you on how to install the tire pressure monitoring system, otherwise known as TPMS. This one I found for motorcycles, and I think it's a great system because this type of system is normally found on higher end bikes. Now the reason I want to be installing this TPMS system on my motorcycle is because I want to make sure that I always have proper tire pressure on both front and back. And as you can see by the diagram, there's like a little green dot over here, or a green line. It'll let you know the tire pressure for both front and back. So the top bar will be for the front, the bottom bar will be for the back. And as soon as you lose tire pressure, it's going to turn red and it'll let you know which tire is low on pressure. You want to make sure that you always have proper tire pressure on your tires, just because it's a safety issue. You may want to make sure you always have your proper tire pressure before you ride your bike. But like most of us, including me, I don't always check my tire pressure every time I get out and ride my bike. I generally just get my keys, get on my bike, and just ride. So I would say that's pretty much 95% of us that do that. I don't know of anybody that really just goes and gives like a 10-point inspection on their bikes before they go ride, because you really just want to get out there and ride. Having something like this will, you know, eliminate kind of that process really, but also keep you in tune on what's going on with your tires. So another thing would be also having proper tire pressure will ensure your safety. Low pressure tires, that will make you have uneven wear on your, so you want to make sure you have good even wear all over on your tires. If you have low tire pressure, it could affect the handling a lot. And also when you're riding, sometimes riders, where if they catch a nail, they're able to kind of slow down to a safe stop. And sometimes riders catch a nail or something in their tire and it doesn't end too well, and it causes them to have an accident. So like I said, guys, having this, it will show you right away if one of your tires loses air. Therefore you could you know, slow down to a safe stop and inspect your tires. All right, so let's get started on doing the installation. Now the tools needed for the job is going to be obviously your Yamaha key, because you're going to need to remove the seat and all that stuff, which I'll show you in a second. You're going to need a 4mm Allen key, 3mm Allen key, and a 2.5mm Allen key, a ratchet with a 8mm socket, and your handle for these style of Allen keys. If you don't have these style of Allen keys, you could use any Allen keys that you have. The L-shaped ones also work well. Alright, so let's move all these tools off to the side and let's get to the package of the TPMS system. Alright, so here's the system. It pretty much works with these little valve covers that go on your wheels, and they send a signal to the system here as you're riding. So it's always constantly sending a signal to your system here, letting you know if your tires are low or not. And let's look at the back over here. Kind of gives you a little bit of insight about the system. The system is completely waterproof, which is really good, and dustproof according to this. Also, it does have a visual alarm. That's what I'm looking at right now. So visual and audio alarm, that's two good things, even though I don't think we're going to be able to hear it as we're riding, but as long as it gives you something visual that something's going on with your tires, that's good. So let's just get into the package. Alright, so right when you open it, you remove this plastic thing. Now here are the sensors that you're going to be putting onto your valve stems on your bike. As you can see, one is labeled F, the other one's labeled R, front and rear. Alright, so that's that. Then it comes with the monitor system. Let's take that out. A ton of wire here. Alright, so it looks like you're able to mount this a few different ways. Either you could mount it with on the handlebars, or you could remove this part and just mount just this bottom piece like that on a flat surface. So remove that, and then you got the rest of your tools and other things over here in this package. So here's all the little tools, and also the cool thing about these is that it comes with a locking mechanism where you could put these on and then lock them. So in case you park your bike somewhere, if someone sees them, they need a special tool to remove this. And the tool is in the kit, which is right here. So I'm not sure exactly. Well, we'll see as soon as we start installing it. But it comes with a special tool to remove it if you do happen to do the option of locking these. You can also do the option of not locking these and just threading these onto your valve stems like a normal valve cap. So that's what I'm gonna probably do, but I'm also gonna show you on how to use that special tool. So I'll do one with the lock, and then I'll do the other one without the lock. So that's what else is in there. You got a little packet there, and then also in here you have your instructions. You can pull these out. Holy cow, there's a lot of instructions in here. Pretty thick. Oh, Then you also have like a sticky pad for the other option of installing this. So you got your very thick amount of instructions here, which you pretty much won't need to use this because I'm showing you in the video. Alright guys, so let's get started on installing this onto the bike. Okay, first things first, you want to use your Yamaha key and you want to put it in here so you could remove your rear seat, and then you're going to remove this plastic, and then you're going to remove your main seat. So your key, and then you can use your 4mm Allen key to remove the 2 screws, one here and one over there. Once you remove that, you're going to use your 8mm socket to remove the 2 screws that are holding your seat in place. Now next, after you do that, now depending on which side you're actually going to mount the cabling, you could either on the left side or the right side. That's totally up to you. I'll probably go with the right side because I am going to mount it on the right side of the motorcycle. If you mount it on the left side, you're going to be running the cable alongside the left side. So you want to make sure that you remove the triangle piece on whatever side you're going to be mounting the unit on. So for me, he'll be on the right side. So what we're going to do is going to remove that triangle piece with the 4mm Allen key with the screws, one here and one over here. Okay, so next what you want to do is you want to look for a position on your bike on where you want to install the monitor system. So like I said, there's a few options you could do. Now, if you haven't done my installation of how to do the custom accessory bar, I'll have a link in the description below for that video. That's one good spot right there, which you'll be using the handlebar mount. And it'll go something like this, like right over here. Therefore, it's kind of in your face and you're always in eye's view, kind of. You don't have to look down too much to actually see what's going on with your tires. Now, if you don't have this or care to do this accessory bar, the other option, if you still want to use the handlebar mount, is to mount it on your handlebars. Now, you actually have a little bit of room here on the right side, if you choose to do so, is by moving your handbrake, loosening up these 2 screws, and then moving it all the way to the left as far as you can, and that'll free up a little bit of space, enough where you could see we could actually put this this monitor system right here. So it would be, once you put it here, it'd be something somewhat like this. So angle up so you could actually see it. So if you don't have any space, or if you also done this installation also, the other option you could do is put it right here, pretty much on either side, by removing this bottom portion of the monitor system and then just having this flat area. And then you could just pretty much attach it right here, or you could attach it right over here on the flat surface. So there is a few options for you on where you want to install your monitoring system. So for me personally, since I do have my bar, I would like to have it in kind of view from eyesight where I don't have to look down too much on what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and install it on my accessory bar that I have over here by my windscreen. Get a better view for you guys. There we go. So I'm gonna put it pretty much right around here. It's not gonna interfere with my GPS system, which I normally have here on the X grip, so it should be okay. If I happen to use my GPS system and it does interfere, I'll move it somewhere else. But I think I don't always drive with my GPS on there, so I think having it right here should be fine. Alright, now before we actually install this set onto the bike, I wanted to show you a little bit about the system itself. Now, here are the sensors, here's other parts, and here's the 2 lock nuts, I guess, the tool and the tool for this part. It also comes with an extra piece here and an extra piece there, put off to the side. Now, if you want to remove the battery off of these, because there is a small portable battery inside, or I would say button cell battery. Now this is the tool that you're going to need for your valve stem cover sensors. Now you're going to see the part with the bigger teeth is going to be for this part. So as you can see, there's little teeth on here, as you can see, and this kind of goes on there, and you're able to tighten this down really good. And then, you know, this is the tool you would use to loosen it up also. Now on the other side of this, you're going to see one with the smaller teeth. Now that's going to be for this part over here. Now if you notice that you're thinking, how the hell am I supposed to get this part over here if it's all flat? Well, this little part actually comes off. So this is what you would do to get to the battery part. Alright, so as you can see, there's this little tab right here. So all you have to do is just get your nail in there and then just pop it out. It comes out fairly easy. So that's how you remove it. And now to expose this part with the teeth. So then that's when you get your tool with the smaller side and then put it inside here, and it goes in with no problem. So what you want to do is next is hold on to this part and then start twisting it, like unscrewing it. So you're going to go ahead and unscrew this part. Okay, once you're done unscrewing, you could just go ahead and kind of grab it. It might be a little tricky to get it out, but if you got nailed, there you go. So once you undo it, as you could see, there is the battery right there. So if you ever notice that it's not capturing the proper air pressure on your tire, it could be that the battery is low. So here is the cell of the battery. So you just pop this little guy out and then replace it with a brand new battery, and then you're good to go. And then this is the waterproof seal, and that's how it looks like. Alright, so once you already replaced the battery, now we're going to go ahead and put that in there and replace it back. So just press it right back inside and then go ahead and use your special tool to tighten it back down. So just put it on there and then just go ahead and twist it until it is tight and secure. Okay, so once you already tighten it, now you want to grab that little piece that you had taken out earlier, and then you just want to go ahead and put it back. So just go ahead and press it right back in there, and there you go. Now if you try to put the plastic thing in and you notice that this little notch is over here not going all the way, it's because this thing's not tight all the way. So just grab your tool, tighten it a little bit more, and then press this plastic piece in there. So it gives you a little bit of leeway between here and there to make sure that this thing's on there tight. So once you have it there on there nice and tight, and this thing is nice and flat, now you could go ahead and reinstall it back on your bike. So that's how you pretty much do it to replace the battery. Okay, so first things first, we're going to start off with the front wheel because it's just easier to get to. So first we're going to remove our old valve stem cap. Just go ahead and undo that. Okay, next we're going to grab this little rubber piece, and we're going to install it over. And then after we put that, we're going to grab our locking nut here, and then we're going to thread that on into the valve stem. So when you make sure I'll fold this over so you could see what I'm doing. You want to make sure that you pretty much thread it all the way down, because once we put our sensor, and then we're going to thread this and lock it in. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that down like that and screw this in all the way. Doesn't have to be extremely tight. Don't even tighten it all the way, just until it stops. Once it stops, you're done there. Okay, now we're going to grab our front sensor, as you could see indicated with the letter F, and we're going to go ahead and thread that in. Okay, up. You're going to notice you're going to be losing a little bit of air, but that's okay, because now it's already actively checking the pressure of the tires. So once you get that snug and tight, now what we're going to do is we're going to get this locking nut, and we're going to thread it all the way towards the sensor. Once you get it where you can't do it anymore, now this is where we're going to grab our special locking tool key. So we're going to grab our thing, and we're just going to go ahead and also hold this while you're doing it. Just grab it and then tighten it against the sensor. Once you get it tight, now you're going to notice that I can't even take this out because this part is on there. So it'll move, but it's not going to you won't be able to unscrew it, is pretty much what I'm saying, without being able to use this tool. So now after you're done doing that, as you can see, it's already on there securely. I'm just going to grab this rubber boot, and then we're just going to pretty much place it over this spot right here, covering the sensor itself. So there we go, I finally got it to seat properly. Now the only minus about locking this is that anytime you do find that you have low tire pressure, you're always going to need to have this tool on hand, either in your pocket, your book bag, or a good place to put it is in your toolkit on the back seat of your R3. So just take out your little toolkit that you have and then stick this in there. That way you know you always have it on hand. So in case you do happen to lose tire pressure, and you need to go to a gas station to get some more air, you'll have your little locking tool so you could undo this and put your proper air pressure inside. So that's how you do it with locking the sensor in place. Okay, again, I'm going to be using the front tire for this method also. Now, say you don't want to use the whole locking tool, you don't want to keep this tool around, you're afraid you're going to lose it, you really don't park your bike anywhere out in the open where you're going to need to be concerned about someone stealing these sensors. So in this case, what you could do is remove your valve cap, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put the little rubber boot, just push it in all the way, and then just put the sensor on. You're going to hear some air escaping, but that's okay. Just screw it in pretty quick and you'll be fine. Once you're done with that and you have it nice and snug, just go ahead and pop the boot over it, and there you go. And then say, you know, you happen to have low air pressure for some odd reason, or you're losing air, or you just need to put some air in your tires. You don't need a special tool. You could just move the boot like that. Go ahead and unscrew it, and then just go ahead and fill up on the air pressure to the recommended tire pressure of the tire. Then once you're done, just go ahead and screw this back in, and then you're all set to go. Pop that over and you're good to go. And that's without using the tool. Okay, and the same thing goes for the rear if you want to do the locking method or the non-locking method. So for me, honestly guys, I'm actually going to go with the locking method just after thinking about it. I never know where I'm going to be, so even though I may say that I always kind of don't park my bike anywhere where I can't see it. So if I go out to eat, I always try to, like, you know, park near a window. That way if I go sit down inside the restaurant or fast food place, I go by the window and I could always see my bike. But other times I may go to a friend's house, and in that case, if they live in an apartment, I can't always see my bike. So therefore, you never know in the area you're going to be in, or if you're kind of in sketchy areas sometimes. It's better to be safe than sorry. So therefore, I'm going to install it with the locking tool method. So I'm going to go ahead and I forgot to show you guys the little rubber boot. So everything's the same like you did with the front. Just put the little boot first, and then pull back the rubber boot, and then your little locking nut, and then screw that in all the way until it doesn't go in all the way, anymore. And then after that, once you get that all the way there, now you're going to grab your sensor, the one that says the R for rear, and then we're going to screw that in all the way also. Try to screw that in as quick as possible so you don't lose too much air, and then screw that in all the way until you can't screw it in anymore, and then just, you know, get that other the screw against the back end of the sensor, and then get your tool and then just tighten down the locking nut against the sensor. So now I got that there. So now we're going to grab our tool, and then I'm just going to go ahead and tighten down that locking nut against the sensor, at the same time holding the sensor so I could get a good firm tightness. Once you do that, now you just push the boot over the screw like so, and there you go. Now it's all set and you're already done for the rear. Okay, now as far as this tool is concerned, I didn't really use it for this because I don't think I needed the need to over tighten the sensor, because I didn't want to strip it. So, and then for this part is for the battery removal. Honestly, I don't know how many times we're going to be out there on the road and needing to remove and replace the battery. So for this tool, I'm just going to put it back in the little baggie it came in. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this inside, and then I'm just going to probably just keep it in my over here in one of my tool kits or something. I'm just going to leave that inside. Also going to put, it comes with this little replacement that we're not going to need. Put that in there. Also it comes with another replacement locking screw. Don't need that. And then for your valve caps, I'm also going to throw that in there just also. So, but the tool that we are going to need is going to be this tool, because this is the main tool that's going to separate that little locking nut so we can remove the sensor. So for this, I'm actually going to put it in my tool kit that came with the R3. Okay, so now once you remove your rear seat of the R3, if you flip it over, you're going to notice your little toolkit. So if you bought your bike brand new, you're going to have this toolkit. If you bought the bike used, this is actually where your little toolkit is located. If you bought the bike used and you flip it over and you don't have this little toolkit, I'm currently in the process of making a video for you guys on to make a small little toolkit that possibly could either fit over here or somewhere in the back seat of the bike. Stay tuned for that video. It's going to be a nice little video for pretty much small tools that you can use for your R3, plus additional things that could probably save you out on the road. But enough about that. I don't want to give it away too much, so let's just concentrate on this. So if you do happen to have this little toolkit, all you have to do is just remove this little rubber band piece by pushing it in and out. This kind of has a lot of tension on it, so you may need two hands to like really push it out. And there you go, it comes off like that. So we're going to put this off to the side, and then we're going to go ahead and unroll the little toolkit. And as you can see, there is the little tool right here. I put it with the spanner wrench, and there it is. There's my little tool for the valve stem sensors. So I'm just going to go ahead and slide that little guy in there, then cover this all up like so, and then pretty much roll it right back up. And now we're going to put it right back on our rear seat with pretty much the open part facing in, just in case for weird miracle reasons that the open end kind of undoes itself. So gonna go ahead and put that rubber band right back on there on its little hook, and now I'm already set to go. So now I'll have that tool always on hand in case I ever need it to remove those sensors. Alright, so since I am going to still use the handlebar mount, I'm going to keep it this way, but I'm actually going to show you on how to remove the handlebar mount, so you could only use this flat piece if you choose to do so on mounting it on the flat part of the bike. So also here is the wiring kit, or the wiring part. It comes with enough wire pretty much to kind of mount near the handlebar location, but since I'm going to put it on that accessory bar that I made, I may have to cut these cables and extend the cables themselves, but we'll see as soon as we get there. Here's the part that you're going to have to connect to right here, but I'm not going to do that right now because I need to show you guys on how to remove this part. Okay, so now if you are going to use the handlebar mount to remove this part so you could put it onto your handlebar mount, you're going to need to use your 3mm Allen key. Put that in like so, and then we're just going to go ahead and remove the screws. So pretty easy. Just go ahead and remove both of these screws. Now this comes out, and as you can see, it does have a little rubber piece inside, so it doesn't let the system slip. So it's both rubber piece on this side and rubber piece on that side. There are two rubber pieces on each side. So once you get it onto, use this as an example, once you find the location of where on the handlebar you're going to put it, go ahead and install it like so, like this, and then grab the other piece, put it on the other side, and then go ahead and put your screws in and then tighten it down. But say you're not going to use the handlebar mount, so therefore you're not going to be using this piece. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to be removing, so you would just pretty much leave that piece if you're not going to use the handlebar mount. But so what you're going to do to make it a flat mount, we're going to go ahead and use our 2.5 Allen key, and we're going to go ahead and remove all 4 of these screws on the top. Okay, so once you remove all 4 screws, now you can just go ahead and remove it from the handlebar mount. As you can see, it actually says F and R. You can see that there you go, F and R. Guessing that's the front, that's the rear. So if this was on there, okay, so I'm guessing that the one with where the cable comes out is going to be for the front, and then obviously it's going to be for the rear. So when you mount it, you got to make sure that the cable's up on the top. Just go ahead and remove it, and it still shows you what to do here. As you can see here, there's the word set, and it also still has the arrows. So you can put this off to the side, and then find a spot on your bike, and then just put some sticky tape on the back end, and then just, there you go. You could just mount it onto the bike on any flat surface of the bike. But for me, I'm actually going to mount it with the other way. So those are just a few options I just wanted to show you on how to mount it either or. So for me, I'm going to mount it with the handlebar mount, so I'm going to go ahead and put this right back. Okay, so now if you also did the handlebar thing, so we're going to go ahead and put it onto the handlebar. And as you could see, I took the handlebar extension mount that I had made. I took it off the bike because it just makes it easier for me to mount the sensor or the device. So okay, so I'm going to undo that. And now also just a note that, let me put this off to the side so you guys can see, These are the screws that it came with originally to mount it to the handlebar mount, but because my handlebar mount or the bar that I'm going to be using is just a little bit bigger, these stock screws that came with it are not going to allow me to put this on there. So I had to go to the store and I bought these longer ones, and as you can see, they're pretty much this much more longer. That's how much more longer they are than the ones that it came with, and this will allow me to put the device onto the bar. Alright, so now let's go ahead and I'm going to put this right on there. I'm going to grab the other piece like so. I'm going to grab my screw, and oh, mind you, if you wanted to get these extensions, these are the M4 screws. That's the name of the screw. So let's go ahead and put that in there, and then I'm going to grab my 3mm Allen key and then just give it a few revolution turns, just enough so it could catch onto the other end. And you want to make sure when you tighten these that you put even amount of tension on both, because if you put too much tension on one, this is what's going to happen. Well, it's kind of hard to see, but hopefully you can see this. I'll do it two ways. So if you put too much tension on one side, the bracket's going to start closing in on this side, and you're going to left with this big gap. Then if you do it too much on that side, it's the same thing. So you want to make sure when you tighten the screws, you do however many turns you do one screw, do the other one. That way it goes in even and closes in even. So just make sure that you remember to do that. Okay, now once you get it as tight as possible, just make sure that you're going to notice it's not going to go in all the way closed, because obviously you have the bar on there. Unless your bar is really small, then it'll close completely. So once you get it tight enough where it doesn't move when you move it, then you're all set on that department. So this is how it's going to look like for me. GPS is going to go right around here, and like so, and then I'll have the monitor right here where I could see the tire pressure. Alright, so now this part is done. Now before we connect the rest of the cable over here, we're going to connect the other part to the bike, or the other cable to the bike. So here is the other cable that it connects to. So it's the positive and negative cable. And you notice that when you undo it, you're going to have this long spliced area. Now this part is not going to connect to the positive part of the battery. This is actually going to connect to one of the accessory ports on the fuse box, and I'll show you which one. But this part's going to connect to the negative part of the battery. So once you're done doing this part, you could go ahead and put this bar back on your bike. And if you don't have the bar, like I said, this is totally optional. If you do have the bar, if you don't have the bar, just make sure that wherever you put your monitor on the bike, just make sure it's secured with the double-sided tape that it comes with. It's right here. This little slits for the cable, because it pretty much goes in like that, and as you can see, the cable goes in like so on this part. So it's on the, if you choose to do the flat part, the flat mounting option. Okay guys, I wanted to show you this before I actually did it. If you actually did the bar accessory bar mount that I done from the previous video, and you did install your monitor system over in that area, you're going to notice that when you connect your cable, because the cable goes up to here as long as you tuck it in an area. I'm going to tuck it in on this panel here. It's like a little pocket. So if I were to plug it in like so, it's going to tighten a little bit, and then run the cable, we're going to notice that the cable doesn't actually reach all the way towards where we need it to reach. It pretty much stops right there. So right there, it comes out too short. It won't even connect to the negative side of the battery, as you can see, because it's too far in the front of the bike. But so I'm gonna snip these cables. I'm gonna make some extensions. So I'm gonna extend this one out so it could reach to the negative, and this one's gonna actually go to the fuse box, and I'll show you where to connect it on the fuse box. So I just wanted to show you guys that before I actually spliced the cables and did it. So, but if you did not put it on the accessory bar like I have over here, and you actually mounted it onto the triple tree, like on this, if you did the flat surface mount, and you mount it over here on the triple tree area, you'll have plenty of cable. You won't have to do the extension cable that I just mentioned. Okay, now that you're ready to install your cable and put it neatly alongside the bike, what we're going to do first is we're going to remove this paneling right here, so we could actually neatly put the cables inside this little pocket area, and then run it alongside the frame of the bike. So I already go ahead and remove the screws. So pretty much it's this screw here, that screw here, and the 2 screws on the side. Let's go ahead and remove that. Just pop it out and remove the cover. Okay, I'm gonna put that off to the side. So now before we actually put the cabling neatly in its place, we're gonna grab our power cable, which is the positive and negative cable. And if you notice that it comes with this this plug area, or this plug. So this plug is going to correspond with the plug from the monitor. It's pretty simple. You just got to plug it in and then screw in the part. So just go ahead and plug it in like so. Once you get it plugged in all the way, go ahead and just screw the cap down on the other end. So just make sure you screw it in all the way. Make sure it's nice and snug and tight. Alright, now that we got it nice and tight, that's the extended part of the cable. Put this cable over just to the side. And I'm just going to kind of put this cable inside the little pocket area right over here. So let's make sure it's out of the way of everything. Make sure it's not tugging on anything. Put it through here, wire it through there. Make sure you give enough where you could actually reach to where you need to go on the side of the bike. Alright, now that you got it like so, you go ahead and put your cover back on. Okay, now that you're done putting that plastic, now you want to go ahead and run your cables. And then don't forget to get a zip tie. And then put a zip tie right over here to hold the cable in place. And what we're going to do is we're going to run these cables underneath the frame. That way it's kind of out of the way of everything and we don't have the cables just hanging around. Okay, so next what you want to do is you want to loosen up your negative screw on your battery so we can slide in our negative cable. So we're just going to loosen it up and then we're going to slide it in and then we're going to tighten up the bolt on the negative part of the battery. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to locate our fuse box of our bike, which is located right here by the side of the plastic. You can see a little rectangle box. That is our fuse box. So we're going to go ahead and open it. So just push it in from this side where my thumb is, push it in and up, and it will expose the fuse box. Now to open the box even more, just grab the rectangle part and then the plastic piece. Just move it. I'll show you here. So just grab it and pull it out just a little bit, like so, and push the little box. Don't force the plastic too much. You just need enough so you could move the little cover out of the way. Okay, now you're exposed with the fuses. Now this fuse is the fuse that you're going to attach your positive cable to is going to be second from the top. So this is your top fuse. You're going to tap into this second fuse here. It's another 15 amp. And as you can see, I already have a cable running to it for power for my power commander. So I'm going to go ahead and run the positive for our TPMS system on the other side. So we're going to grab this. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and remove the fuse. Okay, so now we're going to grab our positive cable. Now that we got the fuse removed, and we're going to twist the end over here of the wire, and then we're just going to stick it in to the little terminal on the inside, and then leave the rest of the cable out like this, and then we're going to pop our fuse back in its place. Let's go ahead and pop that little guy back in there. Okay, so once you pop that little fuse guy in there, now I'm going to go ahead and put the cover back on, remove the plastic again like I had showed you, and then go ahead and close the cover. The thing with this is that you want to make sure, the reason that we didn't put the positive to the positive part of the battery is because if we do that, there is no on and off switch on the monitor. So your system was going to be always on if we do that. So that's why we tapped into this fuse over here, because as soon as you turn the key, that's when it supplies power. When you turn off your bike and take the key out, it turns off the power. So that's pretty much your switch right there. Okay, now let's turn it on, and as you can see, the system is on. It's blinking green. I think it's trying to look for the sensors. So since I do have my bike on wheel stands, we're gonna go ahead and spin the wheel, see if it catches the sensor. As you can see, it's blinking. It's set for bar, which is for European standards. They use bar. Here in the States, we use PSI. So it already caught the front wheel. Now I'm gonna go ahead and spin the back wheel. Okay, so I spin both the front and the back, and as you can see, it's blinking right there. So now we need to adjust the settings here. So, but before we do that, let's put our bike back together. I'm gonna turn this off. Now it will be time to put all the plastics back on the bike. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to install this back on. Well, we already did that, but we're just going to put all the screws back on. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put our plastic triangle piece back on that side, our main seat, the little plastic piece that goes here, and then the passenger side seat. Okay, now that we got the system turned on, so next we're going to do is we're going to change the settings that it says bar right now. We're going to change it to PSI. Okay, pressing the set button again is going to give you the PSI or bar. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the up and down arrows to select either or. If you're in Europe, you're going to be using bar. If you're in the United States, we're going to be using PSI. So we're going to go ahead and push the up button. As long as it's the one that's not blinking, that's the one we had selected. Once we got that going, we're going to go ahead and press set on this side. Now we're into the Celsius and Fahrenheit. I'm in the United States, so we use Fahrenheit. So I'm going to go ahead and push the up button. Okay, so Fahrenheit is just steadily on. This Fahrenheit is the one that we're going to use. If it's blinking, that's the one we're not going to use. So whichever one you're going to use, make sure it's steadily on. Okay, so we got the Fahrenheit going. Sorry for the shakiness, guys, but I couldn't use the tripod because it just angles it too much, and I wanted to show you right in front. So once we get that going, we're going to push set. Okay, so now we're on PSI. So right now we're going to set the tire pressure of what the tire pressure should be in your tires. Just make sure that you look at the tire recommendations for the recommended tire pressure for those tires that you have. Mine's is set to 40, so we're going to go ahead and push the up button until we get to number 40. Okay, once we get to 40, I'm going to go ahead and push the set button on the left side. Okay, now for the temperature, you're wondering why it says 176 degrees. Really, this is the tire temperature for optimal operating temperature for your tires. So that's a pretty cool feature that it actually will let you know if your tires are at optimal operating temperature. For me, I'm not exactly sure for my tires. I'm gonna have to do some more looking up on the information for my tires, since I do not run the stock tires for my Yamaha R3. The tires I have for my Yamaha are the Bridgestone Battle Axe S20 Evos. So for me, I'm just going to leave it like this for now, but I will change it in the future once I know what the correct operating temperature for my tires are. So just look up the specs for your tire, and once you do that, just put the number by using the up and down arrows to get to the right number for your tires. So I'm going to just leave that right now. I'll go ahead and push set. Okay, so now this one is the voltmeter. This actually has a cool option to let you know what your battery status is on your bike. So right now I'm just going to leave it at 12 volts because that's what our bike batteries are, our 12 volt batteries. Alright, so once we have that set, we'll go ahead and push the set button on the left side, and that just brings us back to this part. So once you get back to this part, all you have to do is just hold down the set button for a few seconds, and then it'll save all the settings we just programmed. Alright, so now all settings are saved. Now we're on this part, we're showing a red on the bottom. Okay, right now it's telling me that my front tire is at 73 degrees, which is pretty much just ambient temperature right now. Since I didn't ride right now, I'm at 11.2 volts on my battery, and that's all it's showing right now. Okay, once you get to the PSI and you see the number blinking, right now we're going to adjust it to a threshold setting, meaning right now it's set to 40. That'll be my optimal area. That's what I run at. Well, you want to set this part at a lower setting, like say that, you know, if it goes below 40 or whatnot, it'll start ringing. But I'm going to set it at 35. So if I hit a nail or something and all of a sudden it hits 35, it's going to let me know that there's something going on with my tires. But it's up to you on what you want to set it. You could set it down to 39 or whatever tire pressure that's recommended for your tires. I would say just probably 5 down, but it's up to you. If you want to be really precautious, maybe just set it to 1 down. That way you'll know right away if something's going on with your tires. So for me, I'm just going to set it at 35. After that, what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and push the set button. Okay, so now this part is for your tire operating temperature. What you're going to do over here is you're going to set this for the high temperature value. So pretty much you want to set this at a number for your tires. Check the tire recommendations for the tires that you're running, that it doesn't surpass the number that it says on the tire. So I'm going to go ahead and push set. Now this one is your voltmeter. So this one has a cool option for you to let you know what your battery status is for your bike. This one's already set for 12, but I'm going to go ahead and drop it down to probably 11. We'll go with 11. 11.5. I think 11.5. So if your battery drops down to 11.5, this will let you know that there's something going on with your battery, that maybe your stator is not charging your battery. So once it reaches this point, it's going to start blinking and beeping, that to let you know, hey, there's something going on with your battery. So you want to make sure you set this to you could set this up to whichever you like. I'm just going to set it to 11.5 volts. But if you want to set it to 11.9 or just leave it at 12, that's up to you. When your bike is running, it should be at almost 13 volts anyway. 13 to 14 volts. I'm going to put this at 11.5, and then I'm going to push set on the left side. Then that'll just bring us back to this part, and I'm just going to go ahead and hold down the set button for a few seconds, pressing it down. Now everything's already set, and that's just letting you know that all the settings have been set of what you just programmed. Okay, and then once you start driving your bike, you're going to see that it's displaying 40 for both front and bottom, or front and back. But again, this is for my settings. I set for the fronts to be 40s, the front and rear to be 40 psi. But I also set that the threshold, if it goes below 40, that it's going to ring, it's going to show which tire is going below the recommended tire pressure for my bike and for my tires. So if it drops, if it's the bottom, it's going to blink red on the bottom to let me know it's the rear. If something happens to the front, it's going to blink red on the top, and it'll show me that it'll let me know what the tire pressure is for either or. So as you can see, I have my monitor system right here, and I also have my phone that I use for GPS sometimes. But say you don't have a spot like this for your monitor system, nor do you want to put it anywhere here on the triple tree, and you mainly use your phone for GPS or whatever it is. There's actually a system like this, but for your phone. So I even got you covered on that. So, and also, say you don't want to have to deal with doing the wiring system like we did when we installed it to the back end of our bike with the positive and the negative. So there's actually another system. I'll have a link in the description below for the other one, which uses the Bluetooth system of your phone to show you what the tire pressure is for the front and the rear tire. So instead of having a little display like this constantly showing you what your front and your rear, this one just cycles front, rear, and it's just showing my tire 44 psi, you'll have that display on your phone. And on your phone, it'll show a display of a motorcycle. So here's an image of what it would show on your motorcycle. So once you install the sensors on your wheels, you'll have an app where you get to download, and it'll show you something similar to this. So it'll show your sport bike, not particularly this one, but a sport bike, and it'll show you what the front and rear pressure is for your tires. So if this is something that you're looking for, I'll have a link in the description below showing where to get this particular one. And if you get something like this one that uses your phone to show you your tire pressure reading monitoring system, it will eliminate, doing the cabling for this one, and therefore you don't really need to have something like that. So you'll have something like this, and you use that for your phone. And I would say the only minus on this one is if you do get it for your phone, you always have to have your phone on to see what's going on with your tires. So as compared to this one, you'll have a system like this which is just always on. This one will use more of your battery for your cell phone, so you're going to have to find a way to connect power to your cell phone to always keep your battery good and not drain too much of your battery. So I just wanted to give an update and showing you another method, another system that you could also use for the bike to monitor your tires. But whichever system you choose, either this one that uses your cell phone as a display to show your tire pressure, or if you use this optional digital display for your bike, either or works really good on monitoring your tire pressure. Just totally up to you on which one you want to use. Like I said, this one that uses a little monitor, you have to use the positive and negative cable and wire it on your bike. This one uses no cables, it just uses these little sensors that go on your wheel, and then it connects via Bluetooth to your cell phone, and that's how you monitor your system. So whichever you use will be really good for your bike. Alright guys, that pretty much concludes this video. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And if you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification so next time I post a video, you'll get notified that the video is up. And thanks for watching.